riding off of their dead parents for decades. And sometimes it's not even people that are blood relatives that are exploiting Black trauma and Black suffering for personal gain. And I just can't abide this anymore. Okay. Uh, I'm going to just say to y'all, part of what's got me upset, it's the King family. And just, we can't do this shit anymore. We can't do another year like this. Um, I just, I don't see any way for us to go forward. You got Cat Williams, all these people now coming out talking about deviancy, corruption, and no good people in our community. And that's included in some of these civil rights legacy people. The reason that we're in the mess that we're in right now, you can't put it all on white folk or other people. A lot of this is in-house stuff. People that are amongst us that choose not to do any better. In fact, often stand in the way of us they're not in anyone's way, that they're not pushed against anybody except for you and me existing, all the while receiving kudos and benefits off of their dead ancestors that may have stood up for something while they don't. They feign like they're doing it. And there's too much of it. And forgive me, one of the most disgusting things about Black people is our obsession with brands. You can get the brokest ass Black person. I mean this, the brokest, most pathetic Black person. And no matter how hungry they are, if they go into the store to feed even their children, they'll buy the brand name stuff even if they can't afford it because the brand name is big. And the store brand is the same shit, and they'll starve running after what they perceive as status oriented. And it's disgusting. A can of beans is a can of beans. A bag of broccoli is a bag of broccoli. Um, canned ham is canned ham. A can of beans is a can of beans. Mouthwash is mouthwash. Toothpaste is toothpaste. And a decent Black person standing up for you is more important than if you have Jesse Jackass. You got someone that a lot of people know that are crooked, but you have to run after them. And this is what we've done. And our degenerate boule leadership, yes, I'm going to keep saying it, the Black people in the Greek letter organizations and in our Masonic organizations are betraying us on purpose. They could do better and they don't. And they get credit for stuff that they will not do, that they refuse to do. Maybe in the past, some of them did it, but organizationally, you have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people in these so-called powerful organizations. You know, the only power that they use is to hold us down and trip up educated Negroes like me that don't join their bullshit. Make certain that that person, let me just tell you, I've had preachers say the reason you won't get a church, and I don't want any of their damn churches, is you didn't pledge, you didn't become a Mason. Well, I don't want to be a damn Mason. Okay, I don't want to pledge. And the reason that people don't speak up when we're being evicted and all these bad things occur is that the bought off Black people are often the same ones that join, the ones that gave blowjobs or munch carpet to get into these secret organizations. They're people that will do anything to get ahead as long as they don't sacrifice anything for you. That's what people call leadership, a person that gets to a high place. All kinds of people doing this, from the drug dealers, the bullshit Black social workers, a couple are, don't tell me I'm deserving of lynching. In fact, we need a Black Ku Klux Klan to hang some of these people. What they do to us. And whenever you come to confront them, It's interesting. The same thing that the white crooked elite do, they tell poor white people it's black people. And our dirty, degenerate boule tell us it's white people. Even in a city that's predominantly black, almost everything is black. Police chief is black and the cops are still killing people. The teachers union's black and the kids can't read. The trashmen are black and the trash isn't collected. It's interesting. I mean, now the dope guy stuff gets out, the hoes, the drag queens, all the people for degeneracy, their shit works. But let it be one thing functional that we need. And all the professional blacks in particular, nigger lawyers, the kind that won't represent anybody. We've got almost 1 million people in jail. They know that people are compelled to say they're guilty for everything so they don't do a long time. Don't you think some of these nigger lawyers could band together and still get paid and keep folks from going to jail? Why don't they do it? Why don't they? That fat, greasy preacher, William Barber, Reverend Barbecue, the one that didn't get to see the color purple because they wouldn't accommodate his bloated ass with his mom, shouldn't have gone to see the color purple anyway, you punk ass. Right? When Reverend William Barber was head of the NAACP in North Carolina, not one egregious case of police murder or brutality got prosecuted. You wonder why they gave him a MacArthur Genius Grant, don't you? It's that kind of shit. He's the civil rights legacy. His father's in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference with Martin Luther King. And so sometimes you see like intergenerational bullshit because they got a name. Well, that's so and so's son. Seems like if you're so impressed, go and screw his daddy. Don't go after the person in the next generation because they're not the one that did any damn thing. God. Okay, Sister Eve is almost up. I'm just trying to keep this thing moving. Okay, come on, open up. And by the way, you need to know when we try to do spaces, did it open up? Let me request. 31 of you, welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, I want to say to all of you, which is because we have some serious issues. I'm not doing books. I love books. I'm drowning in books. We can do that, but we got to do some of this issue. There's some stuff going down that I'm not into. Sister Eve, can you hear me, dear?
There you go.
Hello.
Hey,
How,
Dr.
how,
Short.
how are you, Madam Minister of Space? This is Madam Minister of Space. This is the queen of radical black foundational black American B1 space, the WASI field commander for the Mid-Atlantic. Um, you can say Eve, but she has a title. She's Minister of Space. And in fact, we need you to subscribe to her Twitter space. She's now publishing her donation links because she's a mother of 5 wonderful children. I think they're all being homeschooled so her kids won't come out under drag queens doing stuff with them. And so to contribute to their book fund, like I need books, and she's got 5 kids, all kinds of important people in new media. And sometimes she just needs DoorDash to bring a meal by so she can do a 4 hour space and service of her people. And she's not trying to be a mommy, a housewife, and a black female revolutionary at the same damn time. It's too much. So send her a piece, send her some motherfucking money. We
That
need some
motherfucking
reparations
money,
right
Dr.
now.
Short.
We
That
need.
look, that private school is expensive for five
That's
under
right.
the
You need
age of
some
15.
motherfucking money for private school. And she has given thousands of hours of her time to be a person that brings people together. So, Sister Eve, let's start this off with a message from our sponsor. Tell them how they can send you and your five children, none of them aborted. And by the way, we're also joined by Elaine Riddick, the leading Black female or Black wide against eugenics and Minister of Space and so many other. And oh my God, we have Dwan B. He's basically the Afrocentric John Candy of the West Coast. We have all these people here. But before we go anywhere, because now we'll just get to this. Sister Eve has been tirelessly giving of herself, as did Dee Tupman. There are a whole bunch of black women doing pardon me, I got to cuss right now. All the fucking work in this goddamn movement, it's a lot of this been done by black women in the background, and they don't get shit for it. And I'm fucking angry. Y'all need to make it rain on them, like everybody else. That was the problem. The civil rights movement. If the woman does the damn work, she's got to get paid. We pay hoes. We pay strippers. We got to pay our female activists. In 2024, no more. Cut the crap. You see someone doing a space, if they didn't ask you, ask them any damn way. They need money. That's 5 black children she's raising properly. And folk don't even check to see. And imagine they all get sick at the same time and she's doing a space, speaking up for other people's kids. So, Sister Eve, how do they send you some money? Damn it. Let's just start. We're gonna start off begging. I, if I was my tambourines in another room, y'all don't make me sing up in here. You know.
Dr. Short,
Okay.
your passion is welcome, and I always appreciate your support. I never thought about it like how you always are talking about it, but you're right. All that stuff does cost. Should you feel so inclined, my Cash App is just Eve03. You can definitely follow me on YouTube. I think that would be useful for the types of conversations that we have. I try to have constructive conversations where you can go back and use it for solutions. Like tonight, I'm a little afraid.
Well, the way that they
what
mess
looks
up
like
is when
if we're not prepared.
the way that they mess up is when their fathers and mothers usually are too busy at work or trying to you as in uterus. Then short, T as in Tom, EVE03.
That's right.
Okay,
That's my Cash App.
so just
And
Eve,
we
just
have a
Eve.
Patreon, Dr. Short, because we've got FBA Sunday School, and that's another way that we're helping support and pass out the message to the youth. Our minis participate in Sunday School, and that is something that I think we can all benefit from. And that's just FBA Sunday School on Patreon. And I posted that all in the jumbo for actually yours, mine, and Dwan's, because the work that we're doing is not going to stop. And I think it would be easier if y'all support it, you support it. You show that you support. And so far, actually, since we've been live, I appreciate everybody who's hit my app. That's kind of cool.
And that's what needs to happen.
Like that, so.
She needs some Grubhub. Do you realize after she's dealt with the 5 kids all day, she's got to feed them and then find a way between all of that, between kids getting sick, this, that, and the other, and all she got to pleasure your man or someone else will, and she doesn't want to outsource that job. Then they take the time to be online with us for hours. Do you realize if someone were to send her like a gift card where she could get some Red Lobster or something and DoorDash it, she could focus more on the work of the movement. But I was just upstairs cooking, and I would hate men too if I was around hot stove today. I think shit. I would be a worked up feminist, being around a hot stove one too many times in the week, and then hot, you like ready to kill someone. So just for her sanctity of mind, I'm sending her something. Kids not go die. But bless my sister, please. And of course, before we go any further, yes, I'm going to put a big in for the Angry Black Men's Book Club. You guys know that I've had 3 or 4 channels taken. When I each time I get about 1,000 people, YouTube comes in. Now I save all my stuff now, but I've got 475, and I should have had 1,000. I've done national and international stuff for years, so y'all need to like bring them on along so we can blow up. And of course, the same way, for all the research, Sister Eve and I started working on this thing a couple of days ago, digging, and we were working on that thing for Biden, that bullshit that they pulled down at Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston. We said, what does the name of the damn show? When this goes off, we start calling, like, I've got Sister Temple. Sister Eve is going to be integral in bringing the Chicago struggle from a grassroots perspective to the East Coast and all around. That's what Sister Eve's already on. We have the lead people in Chicago: Mama D, Sister Doris, Sister Temple, Sister Rosita. We're talking about the greatest YCs that are raising all the hell in Chicago are coming to us. But it means that sometimes, long after these spaces and programs go, we're networking, organizing, calling, trading numbers, trading emails. Am I lying, Sister Eve?
No, that's real. We actually the behind the scenes work hasn't stopped.
No, we're working. So yes, break off my Cash App, which you should know.
Break
It
it off.
is Dr. Randy Short is the Patreon. I want to thank the 21 people that I have. I wish I had 210, but I'll settle for 30. Although I'd like to have 100. My Cash App is $ Dr. Randy Short. Uh, Dr. Randy Short. And of course, if you're paranoid, my Zelle is the same as my email, wrandyshort@gmail.com, and my PayPal, which is insecure, but hell, it comes in sometimes. wrandyshort@gmail. We put all this stuff up, do it. The reason being,
Let's put it up there, Dr. Short.
said,
Let's get we gonna get our y'all gonna have to pay tithes to these people because they taking up all their time. Uh, Eve, Dr. Short, but I know I'm gonna have to get out of here pretty soon. So I wanted to get to the top of the topic, and then we're gonna do another commercial. When
absolutely. And let me introduce, this is Brother Dewan B. Before you even talk, he's doing a documentary on black music. It's worthwhile. Please put a big in before you introduce anyone or the topic.
Put it in there. The one B, y'all know where it's at. It's pinned to the top of my profile, my documentary. All the fundraising links are in that. But I do want to get to the topic of the room tonight. Can you disown your descendants? I want you to go ahead and set the room up. Set where this is coming from. What's the purpose of what we're talking about? Because this is a heavy, dope topic that I think we need to talk about. And I want to say I support you for what you do. And yeah, I want to hear about this topic. So Eve, go ahead and set the table before we talk about tonight.
I appreciate that. Definitely support Devon. I'm gonna throw his stuff in the jumbo. It's already in there, but definitely throw that. Dr. Short and I were talking about the Kings, right? And I just kept thinking about the fact that I have minis right now, and then all of the work that we're doing, not just my minis, but all of the work that we're doing. What if something happens, right? And I'm not saying or equating myself to Dr. King in any way other than the fact that we're both black. That meets a very tragic end, right? And then the minis being as impressionable as they are at the ages that they are, I just kept thinking about, damn, they really know how to disrupt the family. Because if you disrupt their growth by way of, taking out the mother, then what are the children going to be looking for? Or they're going to be looking, and these children who were legacy, who are progeny to greatness, end up being coons. And I can't get past the fact that, I scoured Twitter for the past couple of days on two specific Twitter profiles, and it looks like people have only been talking about what's owed to us in the past 2 years. But you've been a king your whole life. So like, where does that math? And if the last 2 years are the only years that matter, why aren't you being even more? Because it looks like a bunch of bullshit. Like, yeah, okay, you're gonna speak about reparations because it's hot topic shit, but at the end of the day, you talking about women's rights, you talking about voting rights, you talking about illegals, you talking about everybody that's not us with regards to tangibles. But then you'll sprinkle reparations in your talking points, but not actually talk about the tangibles that should come with that. Mm-hmm. And again, the shit was really bothering me because anything could happen, right? Like, you don't have children, and Dr. Short doesn't have children. So, y'all, this isn't even something that I can share with you like that. These are feelings that I have right now, at least on the stage. I'm having these feelings alone because I don't. If me or something happens to I can't call him no more because of the color slurple. All right, I'll be back with y'all. If something happens to us, our kids are stunted, all because of us. Because of that, like, whoa! Now it's a whole generation. Fuck, we couldn't separate the two, or at least that's where I'm starting.
So you coming out swinging. A lot. I'm gonna put a little twist on it. When you look at other rate power and to maintain the money and to pass the money down, they'll disown them. You have a baby by a black man. You get none of this nigga money. You're no longer part of the family. You know? And then you got them Arab motherfuckers. Yuck. You married a nigga. Yuck. Bye. You will be beheaded. Yuck. Speaking that Farsi shit. You get white folks. All these other groups. These motherfuckers go around. You marry a nigga. They make it very clear. And hell, black folks, we can do it sometimes too. Especially them bootleg style mid Martha's Vineyard ass niggas. You marry somebody that comes from the inner city of Chicago, South Central LA, you know, overall, of course there are exceptions, but overall there are very rigid expectations of their descendants. Mm-hmm. And if the descendants don't own and do what's expected of them, they're disowned. They don't get the inheritance. Mm-hmm. They don't get whatever's coming to them. And so I know there's a lot of ways, but that just dropped into me right before I spoke. Like, you can, but usually it's because the descendants aren't following sets of rules that are the best of the group. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes I think we forget that, we're ourselves, we're our own individuals. You know, I can do what I want to do. But whether you want to be or not, you're still part of the group. And you could accept it or you could not accept it. But there's still consequences, overall group consequences, when we make certain decisions. You know what I mean? So when you have a group of people who keeps diluting its resources, you know, that's how are they 2-3 generations from now in comparison to groups that lay these strict hard lines down to where they will disown their descendants if they're not part of the group. So that's just kind of something I want to kind of start out with. I probably should have started out because
I kind of like that. I kind of like that because it's pretty simple. I mean, if we have expectations and if you have something to pass down, but I think that's where niggas is going to get tripped up because a lot of us are going to say that they don't have it yet to pass down, right? Or they're working on it, or these other groups are starting with generational wealth.
So, oh God, Eve, we can't give folks excuses because a lot of us have family that had land, and one of the biggest problems all over the country is that folks lose land and everything because of bullshit of the succeeding generations, and it happens every day all over the South. Folks have land, and nobody want to do it. In fact, there is a GCP law firm that targets black farms all over the South. They have a special way of air property and pit family members against each other for some group. The GCPs come in, and folks end up with nothing because folks keep trying. One of the biggest problems that we do have something. And we shouldn't always compare what we have to others. Other people haven't been through what we've been through, but what we do have, that gets lost too by saying, well, because I don't have 10 houses, then I lose the one house that mom and dad left us.
No, that's a damn shame, and I've experienced that in a big way and in a small way. Not being old enough to do anything about land that's being sold that I'm attached to, and then knowing people who sold land that it's just a big why. At least to me, it's always like, why would you do something like that unless you just have zero plans for the land? I think a lot of us, we hear reparations and then niggas get scared of the responsibility that comes with the wealth and the resources and the power to do you. They would rather clock in and somebody tell them what to do. So, when you own land and then it's your responsibility to do something with it, well, I guess that can be scary. So you want to just get a check or, they want to get the money now, but your land has trees on it. You're now in lumber, or you've got land and people can hunt on it, or there's so many different industries that we could have just been on if people weren't thinking one way. But then you've got the other side of it, and they were just taking our shit. So you've got people who didn't want their shit to go, but they had to because it was easier to get a check than to work the land or wait for.
We have that, but here's the thing with us. Here's another thing. We got to look at some of the underlying causes. We as a people, we've been tricked into not seeing the value of anything that we have.
That's right.
That's why we can give away our music. That's why we can give away our coach, give away our land.
Give away our organs, give away our children.
We give all that stuff away.
Yeah.
And the underlying cause of giving it away is not seeing anything that we have or produce of any value, which is an after effect of slavery and then in Jim Crow and subsequence, just not seeing the value in ourselves. So we have to start by knowing that we do have a value and a value in one another. We have to first know that we have something of value to hold on to and pass down.
And Brother Dewan, that's what
traumatized out of our land because of a lot of the things that happened to us. All of those things are true. But the main thing is, I used to work at the bank, man. I used to see these people come in with these houses passed down from their parents. They take the goddamn money out, get a BMW 5 Series, get some dope ass clothes or whatever, live like a king for 2 or 3 years. Inflation catch up, and expenses catch up with the inheritance that they got. And then within 3 years, 4 years, if they lucky, they losing all that shit. Out of trying to floss and act like niggas. So that's all of this shit is true, and we gotta attack it all.
And Dewan, this is what I was saying earlier. When we do have something, whatever, to at least esteem it. In fact, there are two things going on. We worship people who hate us, and we hate that we should love that we do have. I mean, and it's a clusterfuck way of going through life as a people. Whatever I have isn't good enough, has no value. What everybody else has is valuable. And where I'm going with this is part of why other people hold on to stuff, as you said earlier, Dewan. When these people leave a will, these folks are no joke. A house that was stolen from my father, it was written into the deed that the house could not be sold to black people. In fact, the house I'm sitting in, it's in the deed. This isn't to be sold to blacks. I mean, they had this stuff written in their rules on how you get something. One of the things that stands in the way, and your fear, Sister Eve, is only legitimate if you don't have a family code and rules. In fact, the thing that's killing black people is amongst ourselves, we don't have a damn law that we enforce that comes with benefits and penalties. So, I mean, a good example of this, if I could say, is P. Diddy. I mean, P. Diddy has been given all kinds of props and acceptance, and they violated everybody. I'm not mad that he has money. I don't care how many sex toys he's had on. But how could you people that help create the wealth that you have? Everybody knows it. Will run after even people that call themselves pro-black and aggressive will defend the person that defrauds everyone else because they make, as long as we are lawless people to ourselves, which is why we need to call 911, because if there's a problem, I can't reason with a whole bunch of us because some of us don't respect. The only thing, in fact, we don't have law as a people. We have honor. Proof of that is our high homicide rate. If you won't give me the money you borrow from me, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to bust a cap in your ass. Now, that might get you your money, not a contract, not an agreement. How many of us know that 99.9% of us, our word is in our bond? You know, if someone asks you to lend them something, basically, I just give stuff to people. I don't lend because by the way, the person that lends becomes the enemy because black folks are immoral. If they like the person who ripped you off, fuck you. It's not that the person cheated you because we're not principled as a people. I like the person that ripped you off. Therefore, you got ripped off. No other group of people operate like this. And we're going to have, when they say this code, well, what is the damn code now that did it? I don't hear anybody screaming about this code saying you should tone all the people. You need to tone Cassie. I mean, that dude needs to tone to everybody he's ripped off. Instead, people pick sides. Those who are close enough to possibly get some kind of financial transaction or get a record or get access, and those are the dispossessed. We shouldn't be like people, and we've got to decide to stop. And I'm going to segue here, and I'm going to land. Dewan, what I wanted to talk about is right now all of a sudden, certain people are talking about reparations. We now have certain people in this election year who are siding with people who are against us. And you need to turn the speaker off. You need to mute, Sister Temple.
Yeah, Dr. Short.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
You know my husband is in hospice, right?
So you need to break.
And yeah, he's constantly calling me.
Okay, well, go. Well, don't worry. Come back. I'll keep the line open.
No, let me just do this another time, please.
Okay, all right, dear.
All right,
that's
and
that's
you can
good.
Explain to them about me and who I am.
Sure.
And what I represent,
Sure.
okay?
Very good. See you
Love
then.
you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
My point is, we have people, for example, earlier this last year, Sister Eve, you guys were wonderful to have allowed to work with advertising and putting out before the public that there was this HR 4321, which is basically what we were calling the Black Genocide Bill. And what I want to mention, and I don't care who hears this, the key congressmen that have entered this bill that would if it were ever to become a law, there are black persons that I know, by the way, in the goddamn King family that know these bastards. Ain't said nothing. I'm not talking about hold a sign. I'm not talking about going to jail. I'm not talking about getting shot on the balcony. But for God's sake, open your goddamn mouth, Alveda King. Who the fuck do you think you are to run around and keep putting Dr. King's name out, who's not your dad, he's your uncle? And yet you're in a position of power and authority to say something, and you won't do it.
And Dr. Short, just to be clear for the room, HR 4321 is literally no bailouts for reparations. So if your state says, yeah, niggas, we did wrong, we agree that we should cut a check, however, we can't afford it. The federal government, if this bill turned into a law, and they could say, we're not going to give y'all any money because y'all have decided to support reparations.
Or we could do better, like sister. It's not just reparations. There's a black man that got put in jail for a rape of a white woman that he never committed. He was in jail for 4 years. He just got $25 million. That bill would prevent cities, states, and counties from restituting the victims of egregious, racist, terroristic, who was tased to death through his penis. If they give him anything, come on, you're talking to me. You tase a person to death through their penis. They shouldn't get anything. This is incredible. And that's down in Georgia. And I'm going to add another name, guys. We need to all jump in the ass of Bernice King. We have to. We have to start going after these people because they're out here talking. Pardon me. That loudmouth broad will scream more about if you use her mom or her daddy's name. Why they're not getting paid. But there's not one damn cause. Not one thing that happens to black people that they anything about. I want to remind people when the folks in Ferguson were protesting police murder, Bernice King went to Ferguson to tell the people to go home and shut up. Sound like Dr. Martin Luther King? Sound like A.D. King? Sound like Daddy King? Sound like Coretta Scott King? Sound like Mama King? No, these niggas are polar opposite their own family members.
That they get. It sounded more like Rodney King.
Yeah,
just get along.
Yeah. It's what they've done with their legacy is it's a bag, but it's just a bag for their families. Nobody else. Clyburn's got a bag for him and his daughter, but for nobody else in South Carolina. What people don't know about South Carolina, I'm going to land here. South Carolina's population, in terms of its black percentage, has been going down. The reason that the black percentage of the population goes down in South Carolina is that there are no jobs for young black South Carolinians, so they have to leave. Under Clyburn's watch and other people, black folks who are young, there's nothing to do there but leave. There are white people in numbers all over South Carolina. Their numbers are shooting up. And so under this niggas watch, a state that used to be almost 35% black, it's dropping because there's no real way to stay there. And because he was in the, to me, motherfuck the 60s. A lot of y'all asses weren't alive. What about right now? What about right now? And I don't give a damn shit 60 years ago, 50 years ago. Right now, a generation like, you know, Brother Dewan, a culture can be lost in 20 years, 30 years, which means you did something 60 years ago, and then the last 30 years you've been screwing us. You literally set us up for genocide. If you want that's legacy oriented, but the Democrats right now are enemies. I'm not saying Republicans are shit. I'm saying that anything that is not helping you has to be waged war on, and the low-hanging fruit in our struggle are the no good black people that have been put up as spokespersons of this for our community. Bernice King, who's probably a stud, has no business being a person that's going to be hauled up in front of us from her father's birthday all the way through Black History Month. The same way people turn their back on Bloomberg, we need to start doing it to these civil rights retreads because these people are killing us. You won't hear one thing from Bernice King about the black folks in Chicago. You're not hearing anything from them. Not one thing. And this is not mental slavery. I got a question from my room. This is a choice. I have a friend who was the bodyguard of some of the kings. And this is a quote. I think I gave you his number, Sister Eve. They called him a communist because he cared about low-income black people. This is the kings. Do you care about poor black people? You're communist. You're bad. You're radical. And yet these same niggas get paid off of someone that got assassinated. And you're against the stuff that they stood for. That's like T.D. Jakes calling himself a man of God, and he's a power bottom. It's just as wrong for T.D. Jakes to be a power bottom as it is for the King family to be grifters off of civil rights if they're not out talking about reparations and all this stuff, not now and then, but be committed to it or get the fuck out of black public life. I don't care who in your family got shot. In fact, they got the wrong nigga on the balcony, if you ask me.
No, that's real, Dr. Short, because as I was scouring the Twitter for receipts, because, people will act like we're just talking out of, not of our heads, and acting like we don't know what we're talking about. So for what it's worth, some people have said reparations, but inside of what they said, I pinned this in the jumbo. Here's a problem. This is what Bernice King says. She says, to every politician, the next time you quote my father, let it be in support of voting rights, civil rights, or human rights, or in support of eradicating racism, poverty, and war, or in support of reparations, a livable wage, or ending police brutality. And my issue with that is no. How about reparations first? And that will actually help solve all of the rest of the problems. But no, y'all don't want us to get what's owed to us.
But you know what?
That's the only math that makes sense.
But they get reparations. The King family, Alveda has the bag for the Republicans. Trump made it rain on the King family for 4 years. Biden has made it rain on the King family when he's in. They go back and forth between the two parties while never doing anything for black people. And until folks start saying that you guys are fuck ups and, and see, let me just make this clear because folks think I'm coming out of here. I wrote a letter, an email to Alveda King in January, I think early January, this week, January in 2018. 2018, was that 6 years ago? I didn't just get mad and say, Eve, let's do a show. And I begged Alveda, speak up for poor black people. You kings have been riding for 50 years off of black people's, and I get it, the deaths and all that, we feel bad about what's happened to you. But what about the rest of us? And you guys call yourselves Christian ministers. It isn't a choice. God damn it, you're either for the poor and oppressed and you're with God, or you're against the poor and oppressed, and therefore you're Luciferian, you're satanic, you're a Pharisee, you're an enemy of God. It's one or the other. And I told Alveda, after April 2018, it's 50 years since they shot your uncle. You guys will no longer have a grace to do the scams that y'all have been doing. Please speak up for black, poor, and oppressed. There'll come a time when your father and all them will not be relevant because the people will be so angry. Don't let that happen because you guys are the greatest threat to your parents' brand. Well, 6 years have passed. And the best thing that's come out of the Kings, at least from Alveda, is Angela Stanton King, who's a grifter, an ex-stripper, an ex-convict, a person that is corrupt. Okay, and you're talking reparations 1 week, and then the next week you're with Robert Kennedy.
I'm gonna go back to the Kings. The Kings. Alveda King and all these kings. I get that I get it. Your father died. Your grandmother, your uncle was a swimmer. He drowned. A lot of trauma came through to that family. Here's the difference. A lot of trauma came through to a lot of black families. We all have uncles who were business owners. We go back that were lynched or run out, kicked off their land because of what they did. Hell, I know niggas that lost more family members because their uncles and cousins was Crips. Nigga, we lose people. People lose people. But when you pimp the loss of your people over for money for yourselves at the expense of everyone else, at some point, I can't keep feeling bad for you. I can't keep giving you that. Like you said, this is 50 goddamn years ago. Yeah, a lot of people think your family got done wrong. That's part of the trauma of being Black American. Anyone who has any kind of understanding of their own family history, we can find a lot of death and a lot of undeserved death that they didn't deserve. We all have precedent, and people, this happens every day. But just because it happens to somebody in your family doesn't give you the right to pimp the rest of us because of that. I was talking about this before. Like, we give, although Dr. King and Malcolm X deserve every ounce of credit that they got.
Amen.
And I don't want to say this the wrong way, even though and I don't want to take this the wrong way, even though they get all the credit they get, they still get too much credit because the movement moved because of all of the secretaries, all of the deacons of defense,
the YCs,
all of the people who are not all of the people who played their part, the people that are in these Twitter spaces. If 50 years from now we give reparations and they point towards a few people that have been vocal, on a large level, and say that that's the reason why reparations happen, it'll be flat out disrespect to everybody in the room, to everybody who's taken time and tweeted things that have made you fall out with your family members, done things, gone to meetings, taken time off work, and done things for the movement that are bigger, that could have gotten your job at risk. All of these people people in this chat, in this room right now, that talking the way you talk, it is a threat to your finances because you work in environments, you live in environments, you have family members, people who got major issue with it. It was no difference in the 40s. Coons was bountiful back then. And the amount of Black people that have been against progress has always been far more than those who are willing to push forward. Even back in the 30s, Philip Randolph fell out of favor. Dr. King even fell out of favor the last 2 years of his life. It's always been all of us, with a few people, a handful of people who are faces. But those faces only became faces because of all of the amount of people that they had supporting them along the way. So when it comes down to this whole thing that we're talking about, as far as the Kings and them going around, I tell them flat out, man, fuck you. We've all lost people. If you're using the loss of your family members to keep resources from my pocket with respect to your family member, because I seriously doubt Dr. King will be in support of any of this. Your personal people to win. That's intolerable these days moving forward.
Amen, Brother Dewan.
Amen to that. Hell yeah. Is that wrong to say that all in the same sentence? Amen and hell. Look, respectfully, and I guess disrespectfully, because damn if you've been disrespectful to us for the past 50 years using your trauma and pain to get us to enable this behavior. I always say this. I don't know if I say this every space, but we're so loving. We're so forgiving. We're so humanitarian that we've always been a people to put others ahead of what's ours. And I think that times are changing, because why is yours more important than mine? Like what Dewan was just talking about. At this point, why aren't we all making this deathly serious? Like, why aren't the stakes the same for all of us? Again, what Dewan was just talking about, the financial sacrifice that a lot of us take for speaking up. And it's not like you're saying some radical shit. other than the fact that you're speaking up for yourself. And that's some unheard of action or behavior. A lot of family are people who've accepted the status quo, and the status quo says that we have to eat shit and like it. Fuck that. So to the people who are in the way, fuck you. And to the people who are not in the way, I think that we need to get more comfortable making these people uncomfortable. If they were uncomfortable, they would not act this way. They act this way because they feel like they can. And not that they feel like they can. Why? Because nobody's really meeting them with any resistance that matters.
Right. That's right.
So then you've got these people who are like, we were talking about RFK, right? So he's got one of the kings on his payroll, and they're supposed to be the black voice, but it's discombobulated because these people don't speak for us. So now you might have been a move, I guess, maybe if you were speaking the right way, but you've got this person who doesn't speak for us, supposed to speak for us. They keep doing that, Dr. Short.
They keep doing it.
People use people who are not for us, that look like us, that share our story to speak for us. You said that bitch said to go home during the uprisings. They told them to go home.
She and Alveda King went and told the people in Ferguson that they were wrong, and that they needed to stop doing it. They were the problem. They blamed the victims of the Justice Department, and everybody's acknowledged that the people were right in Ferguson, and in fact, they haven't even been paid back for all the money stolen from them. But the King family came and condemned the black people who are tired of police murder. I want y'all to process that and understand that I'm not petty. I'm not a whiner. I'm not looking for faults in people. But damn, if black people saying we don't want to be murdered is wrong, how in the hell can these kings claim anything? And I want to say I have Sister Temple, Sister Eve. She's in Chicago. And what I want to see come out of some of our spaces is that there is a group of grassroots men and women, but in particular, some of the hardest wazis and the hardest working wazis in America are these black women in Chicago. And Chicago was where Dr. King failed. The issues that were present in Chicago when Dr. King was alive in 1966 are worse even now in 2024. And you need to know that the King family has been trying to pimp Chicago while doing nothing for them. That's another conversation. And some of these sisters and others have kept the Kings out because they already have Jesse Jackass and others. But I wanted Sister Temple, who's in the most important black community in the country with the most folks, that is ground zero of the struggle, that embodies the failure of these civil rights and elected legacies they've got. Chicago's the headquarters for everything. Jesse Jackass, all of them are there. And I wanted to bring this sister on because I don't like my own voice, but it's the only voice I have. So it's nice to have other people speak. And this sister is like pouring kerosene on the candle. So, back away from your microphone. You may get scorched. I'm going to open her mic. And I don't know. I want to make certain there's no interruption. So let me see. I'm going to open up. Can you speak now? Let me see. Try it. I'm going to try it. Let me see. Couldn't unmute your mic because they close with unmute your mic because it won't let. Now I got you. Go ahead, Sister Temple.
There. Greetings, Dr. Short. Greetings, Sister Eve, and greetings, Brother Dewambi from Chicago.
Yeah. And Sister, you understand what I'm saying about these legacies, because that is the thing that's happening in Chicago. It's all these legacy families have betrayed. That's how these illegals got everything. Please tell these people I'm not crazy when I'm angry. You can see I'm mad. I got my shades on because my eyes are going to get red. I'm thinking about coons. In fact,
No.
I want my blood pressure to go up thinking about these traitor niggas out here.
Yes. Yes. Well, you're very right. We have Dracula Jackson, whom the world refers to as Jesse Jackson. As you know now, his son, Jonathan Jackson, is now a congressman. There was nepotism with that in even getting him elected. There was a whole slew of individuals who were running for that position. The same thing that America seemed to have had a problem with Donald Trump when he was the president, not showing his taxes. Jonathan Jackson never showed his taxes, and he doubled and tripled down when he was ever asked for them. So again, just that legacy piece when you have these individuals who seem to feel as if we are in London, we're across the pond, and they matriculate to a so-called throne with our tax dollars funding this narcissism and this nepotism to the demise of our communities, predominantly on the south and west sides of Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And sister, isn't it true that these people, they're both Democrats and they're multi-generational families? They're the ones that are supporting the illegals, literally destroying whole black communities, shutting the schools. Folk are getting raped. People come and make bowel movements on people's porches. People getting robbed. People getting shot. And these people who are civil rights legacies come and defend the illegals.
Yes. Well, again, Chicago is a cesspool. We know about the machine that churns out all manners of filth and farm. The machine it's still in operation. We know Daddy Daily, Son Daily. There's a sick, twisted relationship between these church members and the politicians here. You can pretty much put anyone before them, and you talk about Martin Luther King, talk about the president that hailed from here, and people just are lulled into a false sense of security.
When you said the church members, are you talking about the nigger preachers, or are you talking about the people that sit in the pews? Please help me understand that.
I'm talking about the members in the pews, and I'm talking about the preachers that run the churches. In fact, they are now housing and helping illegal immigrants when they have sat in these communities and only open up on Sunday, maybe Wednesday for Bible study.
So you mean they're housing the illegals, but they let the black people be homeless?
Yes, they're getting money. This mayor is funding churches and housing and helping these illegal immigrants here, illegal alien immigrants during this illegal alien invasion that we are experiencing now. So yes, they are yet again part and parcel to funding and supporting the demise of the masses of blacks on the south and west sides of Chicago.
Okay, question. Please don't tell me that the churches are helping these people get jobs and housing.
Yes, jobs, housing, whatever they need.
Have they done that for black folks? Have they ever done that for black people in Chicago?
Well, you'll have some individuals who have jobs.
In general, don't tell me about the exception. On average, do these nigger preachers deliver anything? Yes or no?
No, on average, no. They may have a program or two here or there where, the trades are always a thing. They'll fund something like that. But the brothers come back and say they were never able to sufficiently matriculate into the trades because these jobs go to other migrants that are here.
So let me ask you.
Yeah.
Do they have the same program where the preachers work with the police to spy on the black ex-convicts in Chicago?
I can't speak to that, but I do know a lot of these churches will have, or a few of them will have, these halfway houses where these men are allowed to come back into the community, many of them pedophiles, and they're loose in the neighborhood, and the reverends or the pastors running this halfway house, they accept them into the neighborhood, but they will never send them to white communities and endanger white children and white families.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's always something going on that that's a benefit to their pocket and not our people as a whole.
So if I just so we can stop here. So and Chicago's had a long history of people standing up and fighting, but basically, is it fair to say since Harold Washington was assassinated, all of the people who had this reputation at one point of standing up have basically just been for themselves and they've left black people to just fester or die on the vine? Is that fair?
That's a fair statement. Pretty much what the Kings are doing with their dad, it's almost as if it's a vicious circle year in and year out. You can look forward to it's January now. It's the same thing that you were saying with the Kings. You'll have the pastors, the churches, they'll start talking about King, and it's gonna go, it's a breakfast, it's a thing where it's an adulation and masturbation session, but nothing, and talk of dreams, but they never ever matriculate into anything that the community can benefit from. It's self-aggrandizement. That's what it is. It's a whole lot of self-aggrandizement. As a matter of fact, it was said during the city council by the alderman that they were the gangsters. They call themselves gangsters down there on the fifth floor.
Sister Temple, one more compound question. Have these preachers and other so-called black civil rights leaders or legacies, have they supported Brandon Johnson, and do they support the alderman that refused to meet with the black people in the city of Chicago around their concerns?
I'm going to say this. Since Brandon has been mayor, there is a division amongst the religious community here. Willie Wilson is from a sect, and Brandon Johnson's father is from a different sect. And this is the first time it was told to me that the religious community, in terms of pastors and their parishioners, have been divided on a candidate. They usually all take a bag and get behind one person. Well, this time, these ones that were supporting Brandon Johnson, they're with him, and they've got the bag and they're sticking with him. They're only showing up like now in the event that he elicits their response and needs to do some putting out of fires here.
Mm-hmm.
Like he met with some preachers a couple of weeks ago, and he was in the church. He came on the south side, which was, we presume, because if anybody knows anything about Chicago, we are pretty much like segregated. Even our black neighborhoods, the south and west side, west siders typically stay on the west side, south siders typically stay on the south side. So he came all the way from the west side to the south side. And I believe from the community that he was in, maybe Bronzeville, which lies adjacent to Hyde Park and the Kenwood area where the former president hails from. And so I think that was a signal to those who he would subdue into a false sense of security on the south side, like, hey, we've got some pastors over here, trying to quiet the uprisings of the righteous that are out here protesting the takeover of the schools, the takeover these erected these erected shelters, all of that. He came to the south side so that he could garner some south side support, because pretty much west side is upset with him. They were riding with him a little bit. They're putting their foot down, holding press conferences. South side has been, done with him. And so, yeah, they have been pretty quiet unless he elicits them for a particular reason.
I need to ask you another question. I'm going to stop here and go back to Sister Eve.
Okay.
You can say yes or no. Is this new so-called black leadership, civil rights leadership alliance with the city government in Chicago, yes or no, they favor gays and illegals over black people? Is that true?
Yes.
So gays and illegals first, blacks last. And then the next thing is, could you tell us what CORE is, that group called CORE, people need to know what CORE is.
CORE, I believe, is the teachers union, a faction of a teachers union that has taken over politics. Now, the CTU, the Chicago Teachers Union, should be fighting on behalf of the rights of teachers in the public school system. They have become a political arm, and they are now interested in housing because, as you know, Black teachers have been mass fired on do not hire lists. And so this CORE is instrumental. They have matriculated into the fifth floor. They have matriculated into politics. And so now, not only are they're really not doing too much for the teachers. The teachers are disgruntled from what I'm hearing. But they're more so into politics because now they control the fifth floor. And if you control the fifth floor, unlike when Harold Washington was the mayor, you control the Park District, you control Chicago Housing Authority, you control the Chicago Teachers Union, you control CPS, you control the police department, CPD. You control all facets of everything that went on here. Now, one thing that Harold Washington said, he said that all these entities should be separate. Hire the person who can do the job effectively and efficiently, and not have one person, one czar, puppet mastering everything. And that's what we have here.
Sister Temple, how much time do Blacks in Chicago have if they don't fight this?
Dr. Randy Short, I want you, Sister Eve, and Brother Dewan B. to know this. I have never seen on the south side of Chicago more Latinos, more of other nations of people in every neighborhood that I'm going into that was ours. You can't really say that anymore because we have white flight returning to the cities, and we have this onslaught of this illegal alien invasion that is, we used to have, Chicago is so segregated that the Latinos had their own neighborhood. Our men and young boys couldn't go in their neighborhoods because they would be
killed,
assassinated.
Right, killed. So,
right, you could not go in their neighborhoods. You can't go in Bridgeport, where the mayor of Chicago,
where Daley's from.
Was.
So, in a nutshell, Black Chicago's being erased with the complicity of legacy Black leadership, Black Democrats and nigger preachers, the Greek letter people, Black gays, and Black professionals are allowing the Black people who are the bottom 75% to get wiped out. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Sister Temple.
Thank
I'm going to
you.
land my plane for a second, Sister Eve. But now you see why I'm pissed, y'all.
Not definitely righteous reasons to be angry. And Sister Temple, thank you for coming through and speaking those words about Chicago, because I think people don't understand the severity and how it's happening everywhere. I heard the other day about James Madison in New York. They're basically, the students are getting bussed out of the schools, or I'm sorry, they had to go virtual because the school, an active school, is being used for some illegals. And that's a school that's actively being used. And then I think about the schools that they say that can't be funded, or the schools that aren't getting the funding that have to close. And then those students have to go somewhere else. And now that school is overpopulated, crowded, and lacking things. But that building that's not being used or occupied then goes to these illegals. And that math is never math to me. And now I see why. It's all on purpose. It's all to displace us. And then they will allow these people to come here illegally, usurp the resources. They'll make housing available for them under specific caveats that we're not allowed to apply for, even though the criterion would essentially be the same if you took out the fact that we're not migrants in our home. You know, these people, they get these code words that say that they're not supposed to be here, so they can apply for funding that says that they're not supposed to be here, and then we voted for it, not we, not I, but a lot of us, or a lot of people who look like you and me, are voting for this shit. And then you think about the people who are in positions of power who can at least dog whistle for us, and our niggas won't even dog whistle for us, Dr. Short.
That's
Like,
because
they dog
they're
whistle for each other all
they're
the
being paid.
time.
They're being paid to kill us. We haven't understood this, and I keep saying this. The black elite is being paid to exterminate us. And we have to stop grinning. We have people who don't mind seeing us all dead. There are people who push that medication and have watched whole congregations drop dead and not even said, hey, well, why are so many? They don't care. There's an element of us that wants to exterminate us.
It's very animalistic.
Yeah, no, it's satanic, and it could be countered. However, a lot of the times the people hide behind, again, the civil rights legacy. So if somebody was involved back in the day, my kid has to be okay. They have to be a good person because their parents bullshit. Just because my dad had a 12-inch dick doesn't mean mine is 12. I may want it to be 12. Maybe that's my dream, free at last, right? It there's this, like I said, Negro's obsession with brands. Everybody's not the same. And everybody's not going to do the same. Everybody's experience isn't the same. But this is why I'm complaining about this brand thing. This is why let's just talk about this. First and foremost, Angela Stanton King is not related to Bernice or Alveda or Martin Luther King III or Dexter King. She is Angela Stanton. She's from up here in the DC area. Alveda King, as a means to scam, found a dark-skinned guy, I think his name is Eugene King, and married them so Angela Stanton King could pimp the King name. For all those niggas that complain, Bernice, you bitch, complain about people talking about Coretta and your daddy, you let your cousin get this person that's an ex-stripper that went to jail and did all this stuff. I'm not mad at her having problems and all, but the things that Angela's done, let me just give you an example. Elaine Riddick just called me. I didn't take her call because I got 11 people on this channel. Elaine Riddick, the lady who's had to take care of her husband, was illegally sterilized by the state of North Carolina in 1968. And she's been one of the most outspoken persons against them trying to depopulate black people in this country. She is president of what's called the Rebecca Project for Justice. I am a member of the Rebecca, and it is a human rights organization that advocates for black women. For all the folks who think I hate women, because I can't stand feminism, I hate this shit. It's true. I would destroy, I'd burn all the feminist books. I'd burn Alice Walker shit. I would. I don't care who doesn't like it. But I love black women. I love the Wazis. I love Sister Temple. This is the first time I've seen them, like face to face ever. We've been talking for 3-4 years. I don't know how long. The Rebecca Project, we were the ones that fought to get laws passed where women in prison would not be handcuffed or shackled to the bed while they're delivering babies. That's what the Rebecca Project did. This grifter, Angela Stanton King, will go around and tell people she's the one that got the legislation to end women being handcuffed in prison. She may have had a baby while she was in prison. I'm not saying, but she didn't have anything to do with the legislation. And she's lying. And I happen to have her say this lie to me with other people. And I didn't say anything. I just listened. And I says, wow, why would she? I could have embarrassed her ass and just said, you're a lying nigga here because I'm in the group that did that. But sometimes, like I said, that happened years ago, guys. I did not rush to talk about this. I've waited, saying maybe there's some good chance. But the time's up. You can't go and talk about reparations one week and then with RFK, who's not for reparations, and everybody.
Let's go even further than that, because the tweet that I came was from 2022. Her pinned tweet with regards to, I'm sorry, I don't want to misquote. It says it's midnight in the Middle East. What the fuck, Bernice? In the world,
People
he said we can't.
Needs a church. When people wash in the fountain of the King Center, when people sell their bodies in the parking lot of old Ebenezer Church, which I've seen with my own eyes. I mean, you don't feel about that. There are people living in their own shit less than 100 feet from her office at the King Center. This, and so dare them. I dare anybody say anything because I'll go worse. But back to this Andrew Stanton King. Allegedly, now this is the alleged part, that Mr. King is a down on his luck type person, and she picked him out of like a lineup of ex-prisoners, and Alberta King married her with this guy with the name King so they could scam us off the King name. That is a fact. I don't even have an issue with you scamming off the King name, but damn it, speak up, poor people, be about it. I'm not looking for sainthood, but damn it, how can you talk about black family value that you get from your not-for-profit, which, see, Dr. King also said it becomes a timeless trail. I'd write the problem that have garbage in the black community, but if you don't, it kills you eventually because you got to talk about it. The Kings are grifting. I did not say Martin. Which one didn't have a brain? Is it the Scarecrow? That's one thing. Marty, you should surround yourself with smart people with integrity. When you hang with Sharp and Marty, you cheapen your family's brand. He rips you off. It's a fact. And you're a nice enough guy to admit it. Sharpton is a piece of shit. I said it. He's a fraud, and I will repeat, Assata Shakur told me and others that he tried to set them up to be killed by the New Jersey Turnpike Police. So I don't have a lot of regard for Al Sharpton. Quote me. He's crooked. He's dishonest. Martin Luther King III, you do yourself and your family a disservice. And in fact, hanging with him is worse than your daddy hanging with Bayard Rustin. And actually, I think they like the same food. That's another discussion. I said that too. So you've got this fake king thing. And it's amazing that there's not one substantive issue. And there's so many causes you could take up for black people that they're committed to because they're hustlers. And it's time for us, and I'm telling you, folks need to start. She's on Twitter. People need to start calling her a grifter. In fact, if you really want to mess with Bernice King, ask her where her man is at. Where's your man at, Bernice? Where's the last time I saw Bernice King up at the National Press Club, she was walking like Wyatt Earp with another lady. Very masculine walk. That her gait was like John Wayne and shit. I'm just telling y'all. I'm thinking, oh my God. I mean, Dr. King would probably shot himself if he saw how some of his kids turned out. I mean, say James O'Reilly right here, right, right. I mean, it's ridiculous. And Dr. King,
Short, I mean, just real quick on the parent legacy aspect of it all. Emmanuel AME, where the Biden camp went, Dr. King spoke there, right? So then we've got this, the church.
Which Dr. King spoke there?
What on code is, or
no. If you looked at that church, that church
are in charge now.
No, that church had enough white people to be Iceland. If you look at the video.
I did.
Okay.
No, so with that,
look, I'm a
said,
Southerner, and so are you. You never have that many white folk in a black church unless those are government employees paid to be there, and all those bastards chant.
Our paid opposition. We got paid optics. So in the event that there were people who would have tried to disrupt the message, they were drowned out by the people who were paid to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got people like us who are saying, we need more people to speak up. But every time we go to speak up, we're drowned out by these paid opposition. So I get why the uphill battle is not attractive to to the everyman. However, y'all, let me let you know, the color purple, the color
Slurple.
Less than 10 people visited the 3,218 theaters that showed that movie on the opening night. And what that really means is that there were some theaters that nobody showed up to. And I can only think, and I appreciate Dr. Short for, the reminder.
We appreciate
and
you, Sister Eve.
But that's us.
We sunk Oprah. Pork chop down. Slurple is down. In fact, I have a new insult. Whenever you see a stud and they're rude, just tell them to slurp off. And so we slurped off Oprah's movie.
Taraji was even using the math ain't mathin'. So for what it's worth, like, how do you come out against the movie that you're supposed to be making money on, except for the fact that you have to start drawing a line in the sand, and then you've got certain celebrities who are actually saying something. Like we talked about Kelly Price earlier. She's talking about the corruption in the church.
Because the church, let me tell you,
in the industry,
the
entertainment industry.
A rat's ass is cleaner than black gospel music. Okay,
it's disgusting.
When AIDS came around, basically, AIDS was like to gospel music what Hitler was to Jews, because AIDS wiped out the whole musician. They had to find new people. In fact, gospel music has been for shit since AIDS, because AIDS decimated the most gifted temple prostitute sissy players in the churches, because the sissies could play. They wouldn't play with the woman, but they could play an organ or a piano. And when AIDS came along, it got rid of almost everybody. I mean, it wiped out some of the best gospel. I mean, think about James Cleveland. Let the church say yeah. And he fell. So the gospel music is dirty. A lot of the stuff is filthy. I'm glad people are coming out. We have to come out. I can't be silent. Sister Elaine Riddick, who sent me a note, they don't care about black people. They are greasing their pockets. They are against reparations for black people, and they don't understand that blacks were trafficked here across the Atlantic. Yes, Sister Elaine, I had people up on my other phone when you left, but let me say this of Elaine. Elaine went to Alveda King to set up a village for black women who were fleeing abuse or didn't want to abort. And Alveda King ran with her idea and gave it to Angela Stanton King. It's that thing called Angie's House. It's a little place she has that looks like the ungreatest whorehouse in Las Vegas. I mean, the decor is very tacky. Now, it's tacky, plus it's handicap accessible. And I think you need a railing, even if you're just selling ass in there, because, you don't walk the same after you're screwed. I mean, she knows that. I mean, no railing and shit to get in the house, but that's all right. I'll leave that alone. But
well, I mean, I don't think we should leave it too far alone. What I looked up, from what I've seen, I mean, the place is not real. It's not a real place.
She's not real. It looks like a
the way they're supposed to be.
It looks like a chick. It looks like a chicken ranch. It has basically a whorehouse decor, and she would have an idea of how to do that. And just look, I mean, the bed's all low and shit. I guess that's to keep them from creaking. So I'm just telling y'all think I'm joking. Look the shit up. But if you're in Atlanta, get people to show up and tell RFK that he knows he can't win, so this is a money grab for him. We need to coon him. They need to show up. And by the way, Angela is using from this playbook to always talk about women. They don't give a damn about women. This Angie's House was the latest thing, because there was a guy with the last name King. I think down in Albany, Georgia, that's working with molested boys. I think Angela was going to try to like get a franchise to work with molested children without the experience, and it didn't work. So they ended the LLC down in Albany and started this shit up in the Atlanta area. At a certain point, I think I talked to you about this, Sister Eve. They didn't even have their paperwork and shit set up. And yet they expected Donald Trump to come to that little whorehouse looking place, and you don't even have your incorporation papers done. I want to say something else, that Donald Trump, love him or hate him, literally asked some of these people, one of them being Alveda King and others, what can I do to get black people to vote for me? What do I have to give them? What service? What can I do? And he was told, you don't have to do anything for us. Just do what you do for everybody else. Can you believe that dumbass woman said that to? I mean, there are a lot of things. I don't even understand public policy. I would have, if I didn't have an answer, sir, can I get back to you tomorrow? I want to make certain this is the kind of filth that we get from these legacy Negroes who literally told white folks, don't help us, okay. What the hell? Yet you want it for your King Center. Now y'all get y'all can't do some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And the whole the car in the only reason they stopped that I invited. It's nasty around here. It's incredible. And by the way, the pastor of that church, Ebenezer, is Warnock, his foreign wife, who's allegedly dead with the man. This is the kind of shit his potato head looking at. So somebody hears me. The word is Judenstaat. It means Jewish state or Jewish leadership. The Holocaust was facilitated by the Judenstaat. The successful Jews gave the names of broke Jews to be killed by the Nazis. This is what the Boule and the Greek letter people and the Masons and the nigger preachers and the civil rights legacies are effectively us right now. And until we tell them, if you don't, we're going to stop you. In fact, there's a real good documentary on Adolf Eichmann. He's one of the people that set up the solution. And if you ever see the trial of Adolf Eichmann, there's a Hungarian Jewish rabbi. He was in the Judenstaat that was helping give the names of the Germans to kill Jews. And when he testified, people start tripping in the court. The Jews had said, you know what, this fucker set us up. You don't see it in the documentary, but within so many days of that dude, once these people could find the Jewish man, the rabbi, the Hungarian Jew that sold them out, his ass was dead. We're the only black person I know that isn't liked by the black community that has security and needs it all the time is Clarence Thomas. And you know what? If we were angry, there'd be a whole lot of niggas with jobs to protect the scum in our race who betray us. That would be a boom because we have so many concentrators and they can afford it. Let me stop for a second. Sister Eve, can you tell them about the thing in Atlanta? We need, if you saw, he's not even going to his own birthday party because none of the stars want to be around him. Dionne Warwick just walked on by that shit. She says, I'm not going. Charlie Sheen's not going. Nobody's going. Nobody's for this. The Kennedy shit, basically, his stuff is as busted as Kamala Harris' pussy. All right. It's busted. I mean, it's Humpty Dumpty. It's not going to come together. So why? Let me do this. Just because about Winfrey had in common with the Holy Ghost. The gift of tongues. The other thing, yeah, she has the gift of tongues. That's why she made a movie about it. We have to laugh. Y'all. We have to have stuff to laugh about. You know my jokes to Steve. What does Oprah have in common with whites?
You only need to use them
Yeah,
once.
she's only good for one use. Um, the other thing is, why don't studs stutter?
They got a strong.
Yes, they have a strong tongue. Exactly.
I died when I saw that, and I'm dying now. And look to the room. I don't know if you've been participating for the duration of the conversation, but it's been real. Like Dr. Short, I know you try to go light when you've been heavy, and I appreciate
We
that
have
because
to
there's
do it.
balance.
We piss people. We
However,
piss people off, man. Oh
no,
my
no,
god.
fuck that. Niggas need to be mad because the only
Mm-hmm.
way that they do something is when we're angry about something. And what happens is then we get comfortable, we start getting lax, or it's like it's not that serious anymore. No, this is very important.
Mm-hmm.
To what we've been talking about, can you disown your sense? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You can put things in place to make sure that they can't keep your name in their mouths the way they've been doing it if they're not doing what you laid out for them. But you can only do that if you've been prepared. I think what the Diet Society tries to do and has been successful doing, they take us out before we can make a plan. So look, y'all, it's important for you to take these opportunities for listening to these conversations, do something because while you might not have so many running around right now, you do know people who have minis. You know people who are not doing what their family
Mm-hmm.
set up for. You
Mm-hmm.
right now with the Kings and their legacy, if you feel any sort of disrespect from people, uh, grill on Dr. King for real
I've
ratchet.
always liked the King condom. Me, you know.
See, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like sometimes our things are the ones that get desecrated, and 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 there's no pushback because the people who are related to these people don't even give a shit about tendencies. This is what I've we've coexist with those people because at the end of the day we're supposed to be a little bit more evolved, at least in Egypt or in Kemet or whatever. They had the animal head on the human body. Like it was only a little bit of the animal and a lot of bit of the person if you were going to do the duality of that. But what we've got are people who have been disjointed, discombobulated, people who lost the leader of their family in important and integral times. So then they use that trauma to scapegoat or to say that this is why they're not doing what needs to be done. No, a lot of us have some shit that's happened to us, and y'all need to own it. It's hard. It sucks. It hurts. But I thought y'all were doing your lineage. I thought y'all were tracing your story. So y'all know about the people in your family who are supposed to be here who aren't. And if that's the case, you are desecrating their memory by not doing anything about what we're talking about. So I implore y'all, stop fucking around. Like, really, at this point, what are we doing here? Are y'all the people you say you are? Or are y'all just niggas online who just like to talk the shit? Because really, I'm tired of having circular conversations.
Right.
Dr. Short.
I don't look. I I prefer nature. I like animals. This black thing takes too much fucking energy. If I didn't care about people, I prefer animals, and especially with a lot of people, they're more loyal and stuff. And also, you know where this shit is. Like a cat shit is in a little box, and you could take a dog outside and they can shit. With people, you only learn about this shit when you have a knife in your back or in your head or whatever. So, uh, it's not like some of us want to be famous, and some of us, I mean, to me it's not about fame. I'm happy to work with and push other people, uh, and not even be seen because it's not fun, especially when punishment comes around. And there is a lot of punishment, and there's going to be more. And if we don't do anything about what's happening, it's going to be 10 times harder for people 5 to 10 years from now to do something as this plan progresses to get rid of us. There isn't a lot of time for us to sit on our asses and think someone else is going to get shot at the Lorraine Motel for our asses to get a day off. And we probably would smoke weed on Dr. King's birthday. I mean, so, ah, please do something. If you know folk in the Atlanta area, is that information up there, Sister Eve? Somebody needs to crash that thing for JFK. And some of us should have been at Emmanuel Church. It shouldn't have been that Palestinian bullshit. There should have been some niggas up in the rafters saying something, because they wouldn't have expected. In fact, they knew to have it in South Carolina. And this is the one thing that was interesting. Everybody I called all over the country, we couldn't think of anybody in South Carolina that would stand up. I call people all over. Does anyone know anyone? Zero. Um, and there are places in this country where Negroes are brain dead. In fact, my joke was, how come Joe Biden can't do anything when he has brain lock? He forgot the password.
Stop. No, that's real. Why is that our president, y'all?
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole problem.
Ooh.
That's a whole problem for another night, even though it's the same problem we're facing every night. Dr. Short, I don't mean to cut this.
No, you can cut it. If you're a mommy,
you know,
it's time for us to go. And y'all can stay on. For those that are on the Angry Black Man's channel, we can spend a little bit more time. But this woman has 5 children she needs to get to. This has gone long. I just want you to repeat her Cash App is Just Eve 03. J as in Jesus, U as in uterus, S as in sucker, T as in Tom, E as in evil, V as in vagina. I know you brothers know that letter. E as in elephant. 03. It's her Cash App. She needs the MFM for her 5 children in private school. Got her man working like 10 jobs. Okay, at least she's got one. Send her something, send her a piece. Let her sign off. And I want to let everybody know, please subscribe to her website. What's your YouTube, baby? Tell me, sister. Tell me.
YouTube is at Just Eve B. I think Just Eve on YouTube. You'll be able to find me. I'm the only one.
Okay.
Sure
and tell your folks about the Angry Black Men's Book Club.
Your Cash App and donation links are also in the jumbo.
Yes.
So are Dewan's. I believe that we are supposed to do this type of thing, even though I don't normally include myself in this. So this is new for me. No. I don't normally do that.
It'll be new in your account when you get it. So you
keeps yelling at me about it.
Yeah, you need
yes,
look, because we have all these broke activists. They're bitter and shit. All the stuff they did. I don't want you to be like that.
Bitter and shit. No, he's right.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So you can sign off and tell your people Angry Black Men's Book Club welcomes you.
Y'all are welcome to join Dr. Short on the Angry Black Man's Book Club
on YouTube.
Definitely follow him there. Get the subscriber counts up for all. Follow him there. Get the subscriber counts up for all of the channels. I think that if you're participating in these conversations, even if you're just a fly on the wall, wouldn't you want to be in the know when we have information for you? Wouldn't you want to know when we're dropping stuff? For me, I don't actually drop anything new per se on YouTube, but if you missed the space live on Twitter or on X or whatever the fuck this app is called, you can catch the playback on the YouTube. Tonight I wanted to talk about if we can disown our descendants, and I think that it's a resounding yes. If you look at the examples of the people around us, they are actively all the time saying what is allowable and what's not allowed. All of it will go out the door. I think that we need to value what we have, even if you have a little bit, because it's yours. You have to fight for it. Do you know how many people don't have anything? And I hate to sound like that, like, didn't your parents say, "Oh, the starving kids in Africa"? Now I say, there's kids in Flint who don't have clean water. I don't even say about
Kids
kids
that don't
anywhere
have clean.
else. Fuck that. How can you give a damn about anywhere else but here?
That's
It's
right.
fucked up.
And the white,
In our homes.
we
From this animalistic mentality. Like, we're not animals, people. I mean, I know that it's easy to act like that, but no, we are family.
that's right.
Why are we fighting some of this? Be here.
Out here, we can have some fun, 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 fun. This is that, and I just want you guys. My joke again. That's the jokes. I've done this before, but I repeat. What's the difference? What's the difference? She doesn't have a paywall. Well, we have to. We deal with some depressing things in our community. In fact, one of the big things in the King family, y'all, is that what's being hidden from a lot of people is that Dr. King used to do a lot of jokes. And to keep up Dr. King's image, where he'd be talking about people and exposing folks, different white people and mock them. They've got hours of Dr. King clowning white people. This is a Dr. King I'd like to hear versus his fucked up kids. Yeah, I said it. Now, guys, it's 11:20. I want to wish everybody. This was just a YC Speaks show. YC Speaks is for us to have in particular black, great black women's voices heard. We have because you and you're my sister in Chicago. I want to thank you for coming. This wasn't that hard, was it? And Chicago is ground zero for the black struggle. I live in DC and we're full of shit. DC is full of shit. The Potomac River is brown because there's so much shit in it. So I mean, we really are full of shit. Unlike other places, we're shit, and what they do here is bullshit called politics. So DC is a nasty, shitty city. I live here. Once you get behind the monuments, you find all the slaves made and all this other kind of stuff. And the shit's sinking in the ground. It is. DC is sinking. I just wish it were the White House. I wish a big sinkhole one day find the White House gone. In fact, our little baby skeletons are being eaten. I want everybody to check out. I plan to do more stuff. I'm doing something with the Pat Talk. Yes, we're doing Pat Talk. And it will be another great anti-feminist conversation. Nothing but hardcore heteronormative dialogue designed to make all fists and pork chops great. It's basically penis monologues on steroids. Although I want to see yours, and trust me, you don't want to see mine. It's just being funny. Anyway, I'm gonna let people go here, but I have a scheduled book thing that's late. I'm sorry, but we'll be back to it in a little bit. But we've got some business, so I want everybody to know that what's the name? There's something. Look her up. Angela Stanton King has some shit going on in Atlanta, and y'all need to show up. The black men need to show up. Black men need to put themselves in the situation. In fact, let me see if I can get another link while she's up. Elaine Riddick, can't add you to this thing. Um, you know, it make it difficult. You make this too hard, Elaine. God, white men, they even have white privilege with black women. This shit is true. This shit's true. I'm gonna
Mm.
keep talking like this till stuff changes. But Sister Temple, thank you. I'm back. When can we have a conversation? I want to do this again. I think we had a good turnout. I think we had several hundred people.
Wonderful.
And if we have more notice, the minute we can do this, we can have the whole Chicago thing kick off.
Let's shoot for Friday or Saturday. I was thinking that perhaps just myself, you, and Sister Rosita.
However you want to do, however you want to do it. I'm not difficult. I just get really disgusted with a lot of coons that do this because you try to figure out a time every which kind and then when you don't pursue them, they get mad. Well, we were supposed to do it. Well, no, we weren't supposed to do it because as flexible as I am, you couldn't make the shit work. And so I don't run after people. So, like I said to you, if you come today, it's last minute. In the future, it's more. But I absolutely and then I'll be energized to go back to doing reading. I like. Should I do my song, TD Jakes? Should I get my tambourine?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, let me get my tambourine. I feel like going to church before we leave. Hold on.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Hey, Cat, you need to get the hell up out of here. I'm about to put get my tambourine, get my shout on. Hey! I got a bigger one, y'all. This was a small one. This was like the welfare job, just because I need some noise. And then I got like basically, this is sort of like the semi-bushy one, although I'm going to get a nicer one. But I wanted to do a song and dedicate it to TD Jakes, our degenerate TD Jakes, a filthy liar, no good, nigga preacher.
Cakes.
That's right. So this is my redoing of Lord Help Me to Hold Out, none other than our omnisexual gospel king, James Cleveland.
Oh.
So it goes like this. The original guns of Lord Help Me to Hold Out. So we do it like this. Boy, take me to freak off. Boy, take me to freak off. Boy, take me to freak off. Until my power bottom runs. Do it again. Boy, take me to freak off. I really need you, daddy boy. Take me to freak off. Oh, I need it, boy. Take me to freak off. Until the bishop comes. I'm gonna give y'all one verse. I'm overweight and my skin is greasy, but I'm still rich and on TV. Overweight and dark and a closet gay. How'd I get a man like Diddy? That's why I'm saying you, boy. Take me to freak off. Oh, I need it, boys. Take me to freak off. And there's a line who just says, House is full of guys. Take me to, I need to take me to free. Right, right. And then it says, give Diddy the stamina to keep it up.
Oh, Morris
Until
case.
their bishop comes. Hallelujah. And
Morris
then they go,
case.
oh, we need not to freak off, take you TD to freak off, take TD to freak off, take TD to freak. And and it's disgusting. And y'all should have seen that he was full of shit. The first time I saw him, he disgusted me. I've never liked, I don't want to like him. Fuck him. You can tell there's something, a lisp. And that's, unlike a stud, his tongue isn't as hard as theirs. You never hear a stud. I've never heard a stud that couldn't talk. Their tongue is so good. All the studs are a little feminist spokesperson. They use their tongue so much. I mean, they're like linguists and shit, right? Have you ever seen a stud that stuttered?
Well, they have to perfect that speech because they're talking slick and sly, and you're trying to lure someone into a trap.
Mm-mm. So I've never seen a stud that stuttered. I've seen a queen that stuttered, but not a stud. So they shouldn't be called studs. But anyway, that's one of the contradictions in life. I'll ask God about it with judgment. How come you call them studs, but they don't stutter? Anyway, let y'all go. This is the Angry Black Men's Book Club. I am your host and your arrogant, irreverent servant, saying to you, get tired of coons, be a coon buster, and do what you can. There's someone that you know that's a traitor to the community and your family, if nothing other than not speaking to them. If I were a sister, I wouldn't give sex to a stupid traitor black man, just as a general principle. I wouldn't want an unpatriotic nigga up inside me. His seed is probably contaminated. And imagine the yeast infection you could get from someone like Sharpton. Man, you'd have enough French bread to be Obama pan and shit. Just nasty. Leave these people alone. Okay. We need MFM. So that's my chant. MFM, everybody. MFM, MFM. We need money. We need it now. We need freedom. We need unity. We need patriarchy. We need real women's rights. We do need heteronormative values. If you don't want to be straight, try anyhow. Stop being a quitter. Stop thinking that you can somehow magically change your penis into a vagina or your vagina into a penis. And those things look like dead snapping turtles. Shit, just stay with the cooch you had. I mean, you can get further with it. Trust me. We wish we could get off of stuff like women do. Please don't hack the thing up and don't cut your breast off. Please. I see how these women getting double mastectomies and then meet a dude after being confused. And by the way, ladies, listening to Alice Walker and watching movies like The Color Purple, it messes with your heads and it makes you take longer to figure out who the hell you are. By the time you cut your vagina up and hack your breast off and then decide you still want to be a woman, no man's going to want your ass. It took you that long to find yourself. It takes too damn long. And y'all got way more education than women back in the day. It seems like you should have found yourself at 20 or 24, not at 50. When you're all bloated, hacked up, bitter. Nobody wants you. Trust me. We want to be lovers, not janitors. It's two different things, okay? And my genitalia isn't push room for another person's mess. All right. I'm signing off here. Y'all take care. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.